going to spend 100 days in where winds meet. From using martial arts to throw a bear, taking a drink to transform into a dog, and even fighting a buffed horse, to traveling to beautiful regions, learning insane mystic arts, and surviving impossible boss fights. This game is absolutely crazy. We'll check out the new expansion, uncover hidden techniques, and fight powerful enemies. I'll show you exactly what Where Winds Meet is, and I'll be doing it solo. This is the story of my first 100 days in Where Winds Meet. Thanks to Everstone Studio for sponsoring this video. We start our journey as Yan, holding a baby wrapped around his torso. Then a man named Chen gives us something to drink.
Here to take you in, even at the end of the road. A drink to wet your throat.
Suddenly, we both get ambushed. I was being accused of killing my own father.
Slew your own father and stole the chain!
Even the Orient Pavilion takes interest? You're in more trouble than I thought!
The first boss revealed itself, the Void King, the servant of the Emperor. I had access to a couple martial arts, which were some pretty nice looking special attacks, and also mystic skills. They looked insane. I could dodge enemy attacks, but I also learned about deflection. It was sort of like a parry mechanic to counter enemy attacks. After that, the real boss fight began. With the Void King defeated, something strange happened. This was the end of the prologue. Years passed. Now the baby had grown up. He was practicing martial arts while speaking with Yan, his uncle. A montage followed showing the different sects. We will be able to learn all kinds of different martial arts from them later. Finally, it was time to create our own character. There were quite a lot of options. You could go with different presets or change features yourself. Once I finished, we see ourselves fighting a masked opponent. At one point, the Jade Pendant falls to the ground. Here we can choose a name for ourselves and a talent. Suddenly, the enemy threw a dart at me and I lost consciousness. By the way, we are the child from the prologue, now as an adult. Next, I was woken up by a little girl named Ruby. I realized the man in black took the Jade Pendant my uncle gave me. Ruby said I promised her to journey together, and she really wanted to go to a specific shrine. But before that, I needed to take a look at my uncle's Yan's home. While searching for any clues, I came across a carved symbol of a dragon. It was suspicious. Right next to it, I grabbed a spear. There were a lot of weapon types in the game. For now, I had a sword, a bow, and the new spear. Looking inside the house, I discovered the hidden drawer in a table. It contained a letter for my uncle from someone named Wei. The message suggested my uncle wanted to leave his past behind. It told him to find someone called Tian Yang and also mentioned something called the sleeping puppet Calamity. After investigating a stone tablet, I thought about asking my aunt Han about this. She had important news to share at the banquet. Before leaving the house, I found a chest containing equipment. After that, I told Ruby it was time to head home. She really insisted on visiting the general shrine to buy a storybook, so I promised we would stop there on the way. While traveling, Ruby was crossing a wooden bridge and suddenly it broke down.
I made the bridge fall down.
I had to perform this dramatic jump dash midair with a badass landing.
Sure you can,
Further down the path, a bird got shot down with an arrow right next to us. Turns out an archer was hunting in this area. He turned out to be a disciple of the Ink-bound Order, one of the major martial sects. I told him to be more careful with his aim, and to apologize, he gave me a manuscript containing archery techniques. It unlocked a skill called Still Waters, which allowed me to slow time during ranged attacks. We then competed to see who could shoot more birds. After completing that, I reached level 2. Lastly, the archer warned me about Killer Blade, a dangerous swordsman who had killed countless opponents. Maybe the masked man who stole my pendant had something to do with him. Soon after that, a cinematic scene showed a caravan traveling through the landscape. Eventually, I encountered a wayfarer resting near a campfire. He gave me access to the world map. I could see the nearby area. In order to unlock the rest, I had to look for more wayfarers. Next, he wanted me to pay 50 coins for a journal. I tried haggling, and he gave it to me for free. In exchange, he told me to take care of a bear who was causing some trouble nearby. When I got close to the animal, it was trying to reach a beehive hanging from a tree. But that wasn't all. By watching the bear's movements, I could actually learn martial art techniques from it. In this case, I learned Tai Chi. This move allowed me to literally hurl and throw my opponents. I tried it on the bear itself, and I sent it crushing onto some rocks. Poor guy. Right next to us, I found a man stuck between some rocks. I helped him out, and then he thanked me, giving me some fire arrows. I had to use them to retrieve the beehive. Once that was done, I was rewarded with an oddity. I could submit this to activate melodies. I also was able to unlock a martial art. I went with the Infernal Twin Blades. Continuing toward the shrine, I overheard a group of bandits nearby. They were talking about a score to get some coins and wine. I made sure to give them what they deserved.
So many strangers in Qinghe lately.
Just as I was about to arrive at the shrine, some rude horse riders told me to get out of their way. Turns out they were horse thieves. I threw one of the burglars to the ground and proceeded to fight both of them. The battle was quite intense, much harder than I expected. I tried using my new skill, hurling and throwing them away, and they retreated eventually. Before continuing, Hexi is the latest expansion to the game. It features 3 large maps, including over 20 sub-regions, 11 new bosses, plus new storylines and gameplay. The game is actually free and has insane quality. Crimson Desert is priced at $70, where Windspeed is totally free. You can play the full thing now, including the expansion, without paying anything. We'll check out the new region, Jade Gate Pass. It's absolutely breathtaking. It features a new main storyline where we'll soul travel into a new persona, going through all kinds of trouble. We'll also check out even more content, like the town of Corres and an incredible boss fight against a general trapped in time. It is free to play, so give it a try. Download it now using the link in the description. I finally arrived at the general shrine. It was filled with people. Ruby immediately signed me up for the arena tournament, and just like that, I had to face my opponent, Fang Shu of Well of Heaven. He seemed to be quite hostile.
Time to fight! Ready your weapons and prepare for a beating.
For this duel, I needed to exhaust my opponent's ki to score a point. First to reach 5 wins. I won the fight, but then something strange happened. The same flying bug from earlier flew out of my opponent's ear, landing on the hand of a mysterious stranger. Thanks to winning the duel, I received some Echo Jade, which will come in handy later. Later on, I stumbled upon a merchant selling a warrior equipment set. Turns out this guy was a scammer. Apparently, he sold trash and stolen goods. After confronting him, I managed to get some stuff for free, plus some talent points. These allowed me to unlock stronger abilities like, for example, Divine-Craft Fire, which allowed me to ignite my weapon and deal burning damage. Right next to the shrine, there was a man kneeling in prayer. He bowed so many times that he ended up collapsing on the floor. After I checked on him, he explained that he had bought a manual from a wandering traveler. Turns out it was fake. The book told him to kneel 1,000 times before the shrine so a hero would appear. Close by, the ground looked partially collapsed. I took a jump and bashed downwards, breaking through and discovering a hidden dungeon underneath. There were thick vines blocking the path forward. Fortunately, I still had fire arrows, so I burned it all down, clearing the way. Deeper in the ruins, I ran into a Tiger Fort bandit who I had to kill. It seems they were searching for treasure. At one point, there was a group of them standing next to barrels marked with a large X. I kept burning down vines, using explosions to clear my way, and of course dealt with more bandits. As I pushed open some heavy doors, I ended up finding a corpse of a soldier. He was holding a manual called Cloud Steps. It was an acrobatic technique that allowed me to leap onto rooftops and even strike enemies with a downward kick. Eventually, I reached a large chamber deep within the temple where more bandits were waiting. Thanks to the explosive barrels scattered around the room, they were pretty easy to defeat. But then, their leader appeared, Zhang Liang.
If you know what's good for you, you'll hand over whatever you found.
The way they acted, is it possible there's truly treasure here?
Another boss was defeated. I looted a rope dart from him. I still had to learn the martial art though, so I'll save it for later. It seemed the bandits had been searching for some kind of hidden treasure. I thought it was the huge chest right in front of me, but then I read a stone tablet. The inscription spoke about a legendary hero named Jen. It said to bow 3 times. After I did, the statue in the room moved on its own, revealing a hidden compartment with even more treasure. I then explored the upper level of the ruins, opening every chest I could find. Eventually, I discovered a ladder that led back to the surface. With this, I had completed Echoes in the Shrine, one of many areas in the game. As I took a look around the place, I met a man practicing some martial arts called Zhao Dali. He told me he trained with a true master, but was now working with a caravan to make a living. I could actually speak with him using a chat box. The description said that he remained without a wife and his heart was heavy. I needed to offer him comfort and help him lift his spirits. I tried encouraging him not to give up, to be at peace, letting him know that he would find someone soon enough. I kept talking with him, trying to lift him up. I really gave my best, but his affection level remained at 0. I don't know why. I spent some time speaking with other townspeople. I even took part in another competition. I had to aim some darts at the jar while drunk. I ended up winning and received some coins. There seemed to be different types of currencies. I still needed to figure out how they worked. Eventually, I spoke with Ruby again and told her it was time to head home. Just then, a man named Beard Wong appeared. I had 2 choices: to continue free exploration or move forward with the main story. I decided for the latter. He would take care of Ruby while I focused on my search. My uncle had been missing for 3 years. Beard Wong handed me a book that had belonged to him. On my way out, I ran into something weird. A cat wearing clothes. This indicated there was a puzzle nearby. I had to place a statue in the correct position. After solving it, the cat rewarded me with some loot. Cute. As I continued down the road, I encountered a fisherman who challenged me to a fishing minigame. He gave me a rod and I gave it a try. I had to keep the fish inside a specific zone until I could reel it in. I managed to catch 3 different ones and win the contest. I spent some time going through the menus to see what I could unlock. For example, I upgraded the level of my twin blades by paying some coins. This increased the damage of its skills. At one point, a message said that I couldn't exceed my character level. Interesting. After that, I used my talent points to unlock Wind Sense, a skill that allowed me to perceive nearby people, sort of like an eagle vision from the AC games. I also unlocked charged skills and heavy attacks, but the most important upgrade was a new mystic skill slot. While exploring further, I stumbled upon a strange location filled with statues of people. The figures looked in distress, as if they had been turned to stone. There, I met someone named All Yan. He started talking about a technique called Meridian Touch. Using it, I freed him from whatever he was going through. With this new skill, I could target acupoints to trigger special effects. In combat, it even had a chance to immobilize enemies. After speaking with Old Yan again, I completed this quest. Not long after, I found a group of people meditating nearby. They were talking about a dangerous demon guarding some treasure. Curious, I went to investigate. Turns out this monster was actually a goose, but it absolutely destroyed me. I tried it again and it killed me just in a couple of hits. It was hilarious. After another failed attempt, I went to talk with the meditating people again. They said the key was using the Meridian Touch, the new skill I learned. I faced it once again, using the technique to immobilize the goose and steal its treasure, which actually was just an egg. The thing is, I could actually hatch it. Now I had my own goose following me around as a companion. Anyways, I met a trader who complained that someone stole his bowls. I needed to retrieve 8 specific ones. It seems I already had the first of the full set, but I was missing the rest. Further down the road, I encountered the homeless man asking for coins so he could buy food. I gave him some money. It was just a small random encounter. Soon after, I found a musician and was able to perform a song through a rhythm minigame. The funny thing was, I had turned the music off in the settings before, just to avoid any potential copyright issues, so I only heard the sound effects of the keys. Finally, I found another wayfarer. This revealed a new section of the world map. I also happened to come across a small kitten, which I was able to pet. I even tried cooking some dishes at a nearby campfire. The world was full of random stuff like this. For example, I met with a drunk man, and my objective was to persuade him to drink less. I did my best, but once again, I didn't succeed. I'm not good at befriending NPCs apparently. While doing this, I realized I had some gifts available from some old friends. One of them was Fang Shu, the warrior I defeated earlier in the arena. Eventually, I arrived at the settlement of Heaven's Pier. The place was crowded with people. One man was asking for help. He said a brute had mugged him and stolen his martial arts manual. The thief fought using something called a pipa, and my task will be to duel him at the Northern Bow ruins. To retrieve the book, I'll take care of it later. While exploring the town, I ran into another relative, Uncle Zhao. We spoke about Ruby and the caravan, and about how she always was searching for heroes. He told me that Madame Han, my aunt, was looking for me. She had something important to announce. On my way to see her, I witnessed something amazing. A goose was bullying a bear. Literally, watching the bird scream at it allowed me to learn a new mystic skill called honking havoc. Unfortunately, I couldn't use it for the moment. I didn't have enough vitality. Close by, I extinguished the campfire that had been left burning, and out of nowhere, a little girl got angry and accused me of being a thief who had ruined their vegetables. It turned out the girl hadn't eaten anything for days. Luckily, she had a book titled Learn to Cook in 30 Minutes. I prepared the recipe she mentioned and gave her the food. This is the beginning of chapter 1. Heaven has no peer. I finally found my Aunt Han. I told her about the man in black who stole a jade pendant and how he could be connected to my missing uncle. But she didn't want to hear anything about it. Instead, she ordered me to help serve wine to the guests at the inn. I went from table to table, speaking with the visitors. Many of them were already drunk and really eager to talk. Eventually, I went to serve a guest in a side room, which triggered another cutscene. The woman got quite close until Madame Han interrupted us, sending me away. There was something off here. It seemed like they knew each other. Afterwards, I visited a porcelain kiln, where I stumbled upon a man in some trouble. His jars were all destroyed. He told me he went to duel someone, and when he returned, everything was shattered and broken. I told him I would investigate, and he handed me some beans to give to Ruby later in return. Using my new wind sense, I managed to discover some clues. I found cart tracks and blade marks on the ground. Following the trail led me to something far worse. Corpses, several of them. Among the bodies there was a wounded survivor still alive. I began carrying him, looking for a clinic. But before we could do anything,
Better luck in your next life, Pop. Who taught you this move?
Quit yapping and show me what you've got.
For some reason, he didn't kill me. He told me he wanted to see my Aunt Han. Turns out this guy was Killer Blade himself, and he wouldn't stop killing people until I took him to her. I begged him to spare the wounded man I found.
Him?
He killed him right there, didn't even hesitate. I had no choice but to agree to help him. For a moment, we ended up riding on horseback. I waited for the right moment to make a move. As he was checking out the area for a suspicious sound, I used the distraction to escape. I fled towards a nearby temple and slipped inside through a hidden passage. Thanks to this, I was able to use a narrow opening and head to Blissful retreat. Once there, I asked a man named Dodo where my aunt was, but his response was a bit weird. He said she was some kind of ghost, just like his master, the physician. It sounded absurd, but at that point nothing seemed impossible. So I visited the Evercare clinic to see what I could learn. There I was able to upgrade the amount of healing items I could carry. As I reached the upper floor, I opened tons of chests full of coins. Then I saw a strange well covered in vines. I used my fire arrows to clear the way and headed deep underground. At this point, I also leveled up and unlocked something called Professional Legacy. It allowed me to choose a career between healer or scholar. I went with the first one. This gave me an exploration quest called Healer's Calling. It was located far away, so I decided to leave that for later. This area was incredibly dark. I had to light the torches along the walls, and that's when I encountered something disturbing. Strange humanoid creatures wandered through the tunnels. They looked like monsters. They were called Faceless Ones. The dungeon was filled with them. Fast forward, I discovered the room full of human figures, which was really eerie. I even found a letter with handwriting that looked exactly like my aunt's. After exploring other parts of the dungeon, I ended up picking up a flute from the ground, triggering another cutscene. The faceless creatures slowly rose from the floor and kneeled. I now had the ability to play the melody whenever I wanted and make them gather around me. Thanks to this, I was able to complete a puzzle by making them set on a pressure plate, allowing me to open some doors. Here, I managed to reach level 15, which turned out to be a level cap. To progress further, I had to perform something called a breakthrough. This basically upped the world tier, which was currently level 1, increasing both enemy strength and rewards. Accepting the challenge transported me into some sort of combat trial. Once I defeated everyone, the breakthrough was complete, returning back where I was. Here, I entered the treasure chamber containing a strange document. It asked me to choose a sect to view their secret records. There were many options, and to be honest, I wasn't entirely sure what I was doing. Eventually, I realized I could see the moves of the different martial arts available. After choosing a few of them, I suddenly collapsed to the ground. Next thing I knew, I was back at the clinic, but there was something off. I stumbled upon a place full of spirits. I had a bad feeling about this. The atmosphere was unsettling. After squeezing through a narrow opening, I emerged into a completely different place. The world was upside down. There was red everywhere. It was like everything was breaking apart. As I walked through the floating terrain, I eventually encountered the woman. It was my aunt, Han.
Just going to stand there? Get over here.
Aunt Han?
I woke up in the treasure room, right next to a faceless one. He introduced himself as Cheng Shin. He warned me that the path of martial arts was dangerous. He then also asked for the flute back, since it was a gift from an old friend of his. Of course, I gave it to him. With that done, the Still Shore campaign was unlocked. By this point, I had reached level 20, which turned out to be another level cap, so I had to do another breakthrough. This one was much tougher, but I managed to win in the end, increasing the world level even further. That wasn't the only breakthrough available. I could also do it for the martial art level cap itself. For example, I upgraded my twin blades to tier 1. There were a lot of systems. Thanks to this, I could unlock a new talent called Dual Weapon Skill, which was basically a new special attack. After that, I spent some more time exploring the menus and discovered the system called Path Recommendations. This worked as a guide that suggested different character builds depending on how you wanted to play. There was even a graph showing how good it was for mobility, survivability, and so on. Moving on, I found a crumpled letter on the ground. After smoothing it out, I could read part of the message. It said, "Now of all my burdens, only love remains for us to share. Signed by Chu." As I moved forward, I heard a distant voice echoing. It was Dodo.
What are you doing down here?
It's you. So, the corridor in my dreams. My mother must be real too. I'm not an orphan after all. Father.
I decided it was best to leave this place and give him some time to calm down. I climbed a series of ladders and finally reached the surface again. My next objective was to visit Aunt Han's room. Looking through her drawers, I found a few objects: throwing darts, incense, spirit money, even a broken half of a mirror, signed by Chu. As I was taking a better look, Killer Blade suddenly arrived.
Where did Hong Sung-soon go?
But then,
Who's there? Show yourselves!
quickly, I grabbed the shield and used it to block the incoming arrows. We were trapped. Or that's what I thought. Killer Blade suddenly jumped through the roof, literally breaking a hole open, which then I used to get out. Together, we fought off the mysterious attackers. Once that was done, we followed one of the swordsmen carefully, trying to figure out where they come from and who they were. At one point, he went into some kind of dungeon downstairs. We pushed forward, even opening a massive door together. Unfortunately, this was a trap. Now, Killer Blade was stuck between some huge bars. I used my wind sense and found some bloodstains on the ground. This place was full of fire traps on the walls. I had to carefully time my movements to avoid getting burned. Eventually, I reached a locked door that wouldn't open. After exploring another room and finding a small amount of loot, I returned to Blade to figure out how to escape. The solution turned out to involve a Buddha statue located on the upper level. Moving it into a pressure plate let Killer Blade escape. Finally, we approached the locked door together and found a strange symbol carved into it. After a few knocks, someone let us in, and we absolutely obliterated every single one of them. Further in, there was a disturbing chamber. A massive headless statue stood in the center, and several cages hung from the ceiling, containing strange people trapped inside. Then one of them dropped to the ground, attacking me. These things were called sleeping puppets. After fighting through more enemies, we continued deeper into this place, until eventually finding the exit. Outside, Killer Blade explained that my aunt had stolen some sort of secrets and broke her own word. That's why these people wanted her dead. As I sneaked inside, I heard a familiar voice. It was Ruby and Bearded Wang. They were being held hostage. After freeing them, Wang mentioned there was somebody else being held in a nearby building. I made my way through the broken roof, but then...
Mercy! Please! Spare me! Horse dancer, are you the one?
Please don't kill me!
I haven't done anything yet.
A boss fight against the horse? I had no idea why I was fighting a really buffed horse, but I felt a bit bad hurting the guy. It seemed like a simple fight. I actually defeated him without much problem, but then... Aunt Han helped me just in time, finishing the fight, saving both me and Killer Blade too. It seemed these two had quite some story together. With this mission complete, I spent some time exploring the menus again, upgrading various things. Eventually, I unlocked a new skill called 1,000-mile flight. It literally allowed me to fly. A message said that I didn't have enough exploration progress in this region. I was missing a keepsake. Ruby told me that Beard Guang was looking for me, so I went to speak with him. Turns out some bandits had stolen merchandise from him, and he asked if I could lend him a jar of parting tears. I gave it to him as a gift, and in return he shared some info. He mentioned seeing glowing powder on the hooves of the horse I defeated earlier. He also saw a woman at a western post station with the same powder on her shoes. I decided to go and tell Aunt Han about it. When I found her, she was speaking with Killer Blade. They were discussing. Blade was sent by Chu to find out a secret regarding my missing uncle. Han said she knew nothing. Thing is, Chu died at Blackwater City.
Blackwater City? Didn't you say everyone there was dead?
Yes.
He won't be coming anymore.
What could that secret be? Chu wouldn't have sent me to you without reason.
What secret? The man only had a rundown old shack. What secret could a rundown shack hold? Jiang's old shack is right there. You can search it for all I care.
When I spoke with Killer Blade myself, he asked for the location of my uncle's home and headed there immediately. Before following him, I wanted to check on my aunt first. On the way, I stumbled upon 3 dogs gathered around a jar. I drank from it, even though the label said to not drink, and immediately I contracted an illness called canine hysteria. The menus explained that I needed treatment from a healer, which could be another player, or I could just go to a nearby clinic. Then this happened. I literally turned into a dog. Why? After taking a walk, I went back to normal. Eventually, I found my aunt, standing by a lake with Uncle Zhao. It seemed she was preparing to leave the area and evacuate everyone. Someone had to target them, and it was too dangerous to stay. I tried asking her about it, but she ignored me. She told me to start packing instead. I argued that we should fight instead of retreating, but she was clearly not gonna change her mind. If they were leaving tomorrow, I needed to leave tonight. Ruby appeared soon after. We then went to talk to Killer Blade together. He was sitting on the roof of my uncle's home. I told him I wanted to travel with him instead of staying here to find out what happened to my missing uncle. He ended up giving Ruby a horse, which she named Click Clop. I would meet Killer Blade at midnight at the temple where the horse tamer stayed. Ruby and I rode towards Heaven's Spear. Along the way, I explained that she couldn't come with me. We said our goodbyes, and I gave her a red cape as a gift. Next, I said farewell to Dodo, who planned to leave as well in search of his parents. Around this time, I unlocked a whole new mechanic, building. I could literally go into a free camera mode and do construction. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do anything right now, since I was inside the town, but we'll explore this later. Next, I went to the Sweet Wine Tower to gather my belongings. I made sure to open every single chest. One of them was a mimic. This thing almost gave me a heart attack. It was quite tough, but I was able to defeat it, earning some loot. Finally, I left a letter for Aunt Han.
Huh? Did I zone out just now?
It was time to meet with Killer Blade. I asked him about Chu.
He was decent, worthy of calling a friend.
I also want to find Uncle John. What is that?
They're from Arya Pavilion.
Greetings. Look, we really don't have what you...
Hold up.
You're stopping me?
sure have guts. Let's go. Keep up.
The whole village was in flames. Enemies were everywhere. I fought alongside other villagers. They told me we were trapped in some kind of cursed maze, a spell that didn't let us escape. We then went to a vantage point. It seemed many people got captured. There was no time to waste. We all jumped down, fighting the invaders and even their commander. Bearded Wang told me Ruby was gone to the southern room. I rushed to find her, cutting through even more soldiers. Thankfully, she seemed to be alright. We then moved towards the Sweet Wine Tower, hoping to find shelter there. Killer Blade said we needed to find the erase focal point, the source of the cursed spell that was trapping us here, a witch. Not only that, we needed someone to sneak out and guide us from the high ground. For the moment, I focused on sending the survivors to the tower. After opening the gate, I told everyone to take shelter. The problem was that there was only one exit. If the attackers blocked it, everyone would be trapped inside. Ruby suddenly suggested she could slip through a crack in the wall and get to the mountains. This way she would guide us from outside. I told her there was no way. It was too dangerous. I wouldn't let her risk her life like that. So I left Bearded Wang in charge of her. While we tried to figure out how to deal with this, dozens of soldiers came at us. Their army seemed unstoppable. We wouldn't be able to survive. But then...
Look over there! What is that? Where's Ruby?
Here. Look, Bree, what are you doing here? Where's Ruby?
Ruby slipped through the hole below. She said she's going to lead us out.
What use could you possibly be? That kind.
Hurry, let's go! We've taken care of most of the assassins around here.
You lead everyone out. I'll go get Ruby.
Come on, let's go!
Mere ants. Such an unseemly struggle. What's the point? Shoot it down.
Ruby!
A stubborn one. Hold out while you can. But who will even care? Tying it up now.
As I slashed my swords through every single enemy, I could hear the voice in my head.
Help the weak! I can help you save them!
Bringing you all out was a complete mistake. I have to do everything myself, don't I? What a shame. What was her name again?
Ruby. You got this array!
I'm also its focal point.
The Orient Pavilion Witch!
Witch, harlot, temptress, you men love to point fingers. But still, do just the two of you think you can kill me?
Huh?
If I'd known earlier, I would have bought her that pine nut candy. Huh?
You've got a sword, right? So why can't you save her? I'll give you one more chance. Go on. Kill me.
Kid, wake up!
Such touching loyalty. Very well. You all can die together.
People like you.
Don't know a damn thing! I can smell it from here. Still haven't had any yet.
Jars of 10-year parting tears wine. My treat, Blade!
Bottoms up! Cut Come and gone before you know! Never show my face! Of course, a hero's legend cannot erase!
Let no man harbor evil thoughts, for the gods watch from above. No misdeeds shall go unpunished. The bandits were despicable, but our brave young heroes stood firm and deserve to have their praises sung. The young master of Blissful Retreat defended our homeland against the bandits. Joe's daughter, Ruby, though few in years, raised a red banner and led the people out of the maze. The pair had been inseparable since childhood. When danger came, they showed courage, saved the villagers, fought the bandits, and in the end, fell together. How many souls in the underworld were once young heroes in ours, met with an untimely end?
This is the tale of the young master of Heaven's Spear. His story's beginning, and its end. To the people of the world, Blissful Retreat and parting tears have become but a wistful memory. The young hero lost his home, his loved ones, his childhood, and youth. This land is where the road from the past is severed.
The path into the jungle begins. Clip clop. Good boy. Let's go.
While exploring the menus, I came across a new main story quest tied to the expansion, Drifting Through Dreams. The description mentioned a mysterious package abandoned near the Yellow River, so I decided to head there and investigate. When I arrived, it told me to deliver the package northeast of Bamboo Retreat. I followed the marker there and approached a huge mural with detailed drawings. Since it was pretty dark, I had to lit a candle to get a better look. Right there, rain started falling, so I moved under a nearby shed for shelter, where suddenly a veiled lady was sitting at a table. She was playing a game called Mahjong. I sat down and played several rounds with them. One by one, the other players left, until only the two of us remained for the final round. The woman told me she already knew who I was. We made a bet. If she lost, she would tell me about the witch who burned my town. But if she won, I would owe her a favor. I didn't win. She told me to meet her here tomorrow, so I waited. After a full day passed, I returned and lit the candle again. The woman reappeared and told me to finish the mural's painting. The figures didn't seem to belong to the central plains. They looked like they came from somewhere else entirely. I told her I didn't know how to paint and that I didn't understand what I was even looking at. She said that she had dreamed of that place and that I had too. I found myself inside an abandoned cabin, covered in cobwebs. There was a painting on the wall. As I stared at it, it began to move. I woke up in an entirely new region. This place felt completely unreal, with floating pieces of the scenery scattered around. I had to repair a broken bridge just by holding out my hand. Moving further, I found a torn map on the ground. There were also scattered fragments of leather armor and fur straps nearby. As I moved forward, I stumbled upon humanoid figures that vanished as I approached them, hearing faint voices every single time. There was a boundary stone at the end. Activating it marked the area as Celestial Spring Station. Not long after that, I came across a shipwreck and a huge strange bird. I had to fight it off. That thing was tougher than I expected, but I managed to take it down. I then repaired the floating spherical fragment nearby. I was surrounded by a sandstorm. This spirit was talking about a map. I thought it was the one I found before, but he said it was false. I kept following him. He was heading to Celestial Spring Station. There were footprints in the sand, which I had to follow. The scenery, by the way, looked amazing. Along the way, I ran into more of those bird-like enemies and had to fight several of them before activating another one of those floating orbs. This triggered another sandstorm. The man appeared again, and I told him I could take him into the station, but he insisted I follow him. Eventually, I reached a massive shipwreck. There was a letter titled "To My Wife." I continued forward, repaired another fragment, and had to fight more birds. This time, there was a mini-boss at the end. Once that was done, I found another letter. This one spoke about being rejected and called a barbarian, cast away and no longer recognized. I eventually found the man again and asked if he had found his wife. He was striking some kind of drum.
Take my place.
I tried hitting it myself.
I've returned.
Hong Yu, Master of Celestial Spring Station, reporting back from Great Tongue.
Sir, there's nothing in this sandstorm.
There's nothing left. Had I known regret would cling so deep. One scar of pain outgrows 2 scars of grief.
Sir!
Desert Without Sails was completed. Now we were free to roam the whole map. I came across a strange glowing energy nearby, and this happened. I transformed into some kind of flying spirit. This was a new ability called Moon Leap Morph, which let me move much faster. Around this time, I also noticed my character had reached level 30, which was the current cap, so I had to complete another breakthrough, progressing even further. As I explored this new region, I arrived at the place called Camel Station. Here, I met someone who asked me to recreate scenes from a poem. To complete the quest, I had to use the camera mode and pose in specific ways. I wasn't expecting this, but it was pretty fun. I continued exploring the open world, gathering loot and adventuring at my own pace before returning to the main objective. Eventually, I reached a place called Caress. There were plenty of people here. I even stumbled upon a wayfarer who finally revealed the full regional map. In the same settlement, I checked the merchant's inventory and noticed that I could purchase building diagrams. I tried placing a blueprint for a small stone house. The problem was I didn't have enough materials for the moment, so I decided to leave it for later. Another interesting thing I found was a wrestling arena. Unfortunately, I was denied entry because my constitution was too low. Not far from there, I discovered a person lying on the sand. After helping them up, they told me they were searching for something called a shadowfin. It was some kind of spirit which was difficult to catch. To do so, I had to carefully time my movements. I was able to reconstruct a rock just as the shadowfin was going through it, successfully capturing it. Returning to the NPC, he rewarded me with an increase to my max health. Another random event I came across was a man playing a flute. I had to complete another one of those rhythmic minigames. Shortly after, I found a strange jar filled with water.
I heard water just now. But where could it have come from? It seems it's coming from me? Wait. Just as I thought, the sound is coming from this scroll. When I first saw it in the cabin, it wasn't this big. The carp stirs again.
I need you to finish this painting. It is the answer I am seeking, as well as the answer you are seeking.
But what does this scroll have to do with the answer I've been seeking? Could it show me where Uncle Jiang and Aunt Han are? The fish seems to swim forward. Is that a path?
Following the objective marker, I was suddenly a different character. I was an old man named Burlap Sack.
Hey! You there! Down with the burlap sack! Yes, you!
Coming. Coming.
I followed a man who wasn't really nice. He was asking me for money, more and more, and he led me to someone named Boss Hao, who seemed to be the leader of this caravan. I presented myself. He asked if I bring any goods, but I just had the sack on my back, which wasn't for sale. I refused to open it. After some discussion, he allowed me to join their group. Now it was time to give them a hand. I helped them out by carrying boxes and even feeding the camels. Once I was done, I talked with a woman named Madame Shi. She gave me some buns for the trip and said I was a good man for helping her and told me to take care of myself. It was time to depart.
All right, everyone's here. Let's get going.
During our travels, one of the merchants wanted to look inside my bag. He was really insistent, but I refused. As I sat down quietly, keeping to myself, I overheard the conversations of the group. Turns out the caravan wanted to change its route. They decided to not go to Blackwater City.
Changing the route? You can't change the route. I need to go to Blackwater City. Got to deliver something.
There's a war going on there. We can't go.
I tried to convince them, talking with them one by one, but they all refused and told me to go on my own if I wanted to continue. As we continued our trip, people were struggling to keep up. Eventually, we ran into somebody.
Halt, traveler. Stand and deliver. If you want to pass.
God damn it, that nearly stopped my heart.
Bandits ambushed us. We were surrounded. There was nowhere to escape. As they bullied us and demanded us to give them our valuables, one of them seemed to recognize something about me. My shoes.
You recognize these shoes? Are you a soldier from our side?
Gotcha! Your side?
So, you are not a soldier? Then you're a Han refugee?
Han? I ain't no Han. You Han folk owe me this eye. Why are you hiding in a caravan?
Soldier! He's a soldier! Soldier! Damn it!
I'm not.
I can't stand folks who dodge questions. If your answer doesn't please me, I'll cut the lot of you into pieces!
Mercy! Have mercy on me! You want me dead, you rats! Helping you only brings me bad luck! Say something, you worthless fool! Talk!
I got to choose to speak or stay silent. I told them I was no soldier. I only did odd jobs. Then their leader read a letter I was carrying with me. It was a document. I told him what was in the sack wasn't worth a thing. I had to complete this delivery to Blackwater City. They didn't believe me. They thought I was a liar until they saw my coins. There was something about them. Suddenly, the bandit leader chose to let us go, saying they were done here. As I went to retrieve my bag, the caravan leader told me I could no longer be with them. They wanted nothing to do with me, said it was too dangerous for them. So we parted ways. While gathering my coins near a tree stump, I realized I had no water left. I was hopeless. I tried following the caravan. Then one of the younger members gave me something to drink before leaving, saying we were the same. He was a good person. Traveling alone was awful. I ended up passing out in the middle of a sandstorm. Once I woke up, I saw a fox running away with my water skin. I tried chasing it, but it was really fast. I continued walking through the desert until I found a water well. Unfortunately, it was empty. I kept moving, even during the night, only to find another one also empty. Eventually, I stumbled upon the water skin, but it was empty. I sat beside a tree for a moment, realizing I had nothing left but the sack. Then, in the middle of another sandstorm, I was attacked by the bird-like creatures. This time, I couldn't fight back. I could only dodge and try to survive. It felt almost impossible, but thankfully, I managed to reach a fort and climb to the top. I was able to light different beacons with fire to drive the creatures away, one by one, until the area was secure. For some reason, I woke up missing my bag. I needed to recover it and somehow make my way to Blackwater City, but it was nowhere to be found. Exhausted and with nothing left, I collapsed onto the ground and passed out. When I woke up, I was inside a cavern, surrounded by people. They had rescued me. I spent some time walking around their camp, speaking with them and observing how they lived. There were children, elders, families. A kid named Bao was especially kind and offered me some water. From what I could tell, these people were actually extracting water from a well, dug from sand using baskets. We went looking for some food. As I put some oats into a container, I heard the kid scream. They ended up being okay, but the fox stole the water. While following its tracks, we stumbled upon my sack. It was filled with cotton seeds. After completing that sequence, I reached level 40. This time, I had to complete a trial in order to make a breakthrough. I entered what was called the Foundation trial and managed to win it. After finishing the required challenges, everything advanced, reaching world level 5. This unlocked a new mechanic called tuning. It allowed me to consume gear of the same level or use special tuning stones to enhance equipment and gain additional traits. Before continuing with the story of Burlap Sack, I kept traveling through the desert until I encountered some kind of anomaly. Suddenly, everything went dark, and I woke up in a completely different place. I tried drinking from my water skin, but it was empty. Then, a woman appeared. She was surprised that I was real. She thought it was a dream. The next morning, I found her again. She didn't look well. She was planning on clearing the nearby well all by herself. So, I decided to help her out. Using my mystic ability, I was able to fix it instantly. She wanted to go inside there. She mentioned someone who had told her to retrieve a lamp from the well. I decided to go there myself. I descended into the depths and began moving forward, using my abilities to restore the path and clear obstacles. Throughout the cave, I experienced strange visions. I could hear voices and see fragments of the past, like echoes of the people who had once lived and worked there. I also had to fight creatures called skeletal blooms. They were really tough. After a long search, I finally found the way forward and climbed up using a rope. The voices I could hear belonged to the woman's family. They had been digging here in the past and finally found water so future generations could survive. Using my abilities, I restored the oil lamp and took it with me. As I made my way back, more visions appeared, showing the people who had once been there getting out. At one point, a skeletal creature appeared, but it fled when exposed to the light of the lamp. When I returned, I gave the lamp to the woman. Thanks to the efforts of those who had come before, the village would now have access to water. I resumed the story of Burlap Sack. We arrived at Blackwater Station. As I approached the man in the entrance, I realized he was actually dead. The entire place had been overrun with enemies, and I needed to find a way to move through it without being seen. After several failed attempts, I actually managed to sneak past them by going around and timing my movements right. Once at the tower, I found one of the caravan's members hiding. He told me to get out of his way, so I climbed to the top and looked out over the area. The situation was bad. The invaders had already killed the soldiers, and the rest of the caravan was scattered, being harassed and hunted down. In the distance, I could see more warriors approaching, which gave me a brief sense of hope, but things went south.
Are you crazy? They'll see us!
The ogres can help. I gotta...
The Arcos are here? Oh, the Arcos are here. But we lied to the town gate guards. I'm sorry. You can't.
When I woke up, I immediately started searching for my bag. As soon as I saw them, the man from the caravan got murdered by one of the warriors. They were not on our side. He wasn't the only one. Nearby, I saw the young lad who helped me before. He was alive. I was not gonna leave him behind. I helped him out. Together, we tried to get away from the chaos. Unfortunately, we got spotted.
We'll make it back.
That's right, Yota. We'll make it back.
Back to Tonga!
No, how did you...
Chung out abandoned this place long ago. That's bullshit! I'm still here! A group of losers!
Wait! Brother Chen!
It's marked the 15th year of Dali.
But Dali, there ain't no 15th year.
As the tale of Burlap Sack came to an end, I realized I had to deal with an illness, a bone fracture specifically. This didn't let me sprint and I could only move slowly. To fix it, I had to find a doctor. I traveled back to the clinic and spoke with the NPC there, but she told me she couldn't treat bone fractures. The only option was to find another player, so I switched modes and went there instead. The place was full of people, and after waiting for a bit, someone actually helped me. It was super simple. Finally, I was able to run again. Before leaving, I spoke with the medical NPC once more to increase my medicine carry limit. After that, I returned to the desert region and spoke with the Wayfarer again. This leveled me up. I continued exploring the area until I got caught in a sandstorm. The visibility was awful. I had to follow a group of camels through it. After a long walk through the storm, I finally made it through, only to find this. A massive ship sitting in the middle of the desert, which was actually a boss fight. The thing was called the Wandering Ark, and it immediately started firing projectiles at me. As I ran towards it, the ship suddenly grew multiple legs, lifting itself off the ground. Each step was devastating. A single stomp dealt massive damage. Its weak spots were some branches on the legs. After a while, I managed to destroy one of them. Every time the thing landed, it dropped a floating orb. Destroying those dealt heavy damage to the boss. Once the second phase began, the thing turned much more aggressive. It charged like a beast, constantly attacking me. At one point, it used a special attack called Moonfall, where the only option was to sprint and avoid incoming damage. I gave it all. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I spent some time exploring the map until I stumbled upon a monk playing a flute. After performing one of the rhythmic minigames, he told me about a special melody, a technique, but to learn it I had to complete a quest. My objective was to travel to the final resting place of the Angshi army and bring peace to the heroic souls. To do that, I needed to visit White Heron Fortress and a second location marked on the map. After playing the melody in both places, the mission was completed. As a reward, he taught me a new mystic skill called Flute of the Tides, an area of effectability. While wandering through the desert, I interacted with a floating orb, which suddenly triggered a mini-boss encounter. A huge skeletal creature burst out from the sand and attacked me. It turned into a full fight. After that, I made my way to White Crown Fortress. Massive gates stood at the entrance, and as I approached, I could hear the voice of a city guard. I insisted on entering. Once inside, everything felt wrong. Time itself seemed frozen. Warriors were suspended mid-air. Explosions still. I stepped into the middle of a battle. I moved through the chaos until I reached the center. That's where I encountered the General, Grand Protector of Hexi, a new boss. I was suddenly thrown out of the city, beyond the gates. I tried entering again, fighting once more, but the same thing happened. There was no way I could continue. Or that's what I thought. Outside the fortress, I noticed a banner nearby I could grab. This was part of a collection of flags I needed to find. I continued hunting for them across the map, picking up several of them as I explored the region. During this, I arrived at an outpost called Howling Sand, where I was able to summon spiritual soldiers to fight alongside of me. The objective here was to clear the area of those bird-like monsters. There were dozens of them, and the fight turned into complete chaos. After spending a good amount of time, I managed to take them all down, capture the flag, and defeat the bird boss that controlled the outpost. Later, I entered a strange portal without really knowing where it would lead. It took me into some sort of alternate dimension, some sort of platforming puzzle. To progress, I had to use my mystic ability to move these huge rocks, activating levers and carefully navigating the place without falling. Of course, I did fall a few times. It took a long time to figure everything out, but eventually I managed to complete it. I returned to the battlefield frozen in time. But now, as I touched the flag, I was sent somewhere else. I found myself in some sort of flashback or vision. I was wearing armor, surrounded by soldiers, and they all seemed to believe I was someone named Chen. One of them asked me to write a letter, so I did, and handed it over to a general. Then time froze. Soldiers were suspended mid-air, flames and debris everywhere. I had to jump around the place until reaching another flag. This was not the only vision I went through. The second one was crazier. This was much more difficult. I was standing on broken floating roofs. While trying to dodge some big fire projectiles, I had to reconstruct my path forward and go from roof to roof, using some ballistas to fire at the birds surrounding me. The area was completely overrun. Eventually, I came across a group of soldiers fighting them, and I joined in. After speaking with the wounded man, everything froze again. I grabbed another flag, and just like before, I was pulled out of the sequence and returned to the main area. This time, I was finally able to place all the flags one after another. That's when the final boss fight began.
General, the Great Tongue is no more, and so is your burden. Go home.
The Anshi army never retreats. Not until death.
General, you're already gone. The Anshi army is no more.
Anshi army? Do you hold? Anshi army? Do you hold? Anshi army? Do you hold?
We hold! We hold! We hold!
Anshi Army, 3rd Garrison!
We hold!
Anshi Army, 42nd Garrison!
We hold!
Anshi Army, 7th Garrison!
We hold! Anshi Army, 53rd Garrison! We hold! Anshi Army, 46th Garrison! We hold!
49th Garrison!
We hold! We hold! We hold! We hold! We hold! Anshi Army! We hold!
Thank you once again to Everstone Studios for sponsoring this video. The game is available on PC, PS5 and mobile. It is free to play, so be sure to give it a try. Download it using the link in the description. Thank you for watching.